All right. We will now call the Plan Commission meeting of May 27th, 2025 to order. Roll call, please.
Anna here.
Bouch here.
Pshinsky here.
Gave chair.
Guzikowski here.
Oldani here.
Seifert here.
Chandler here.
Okay, we will go back and item 3 is approval of minutes of May 13th, 2025. No errors, omissions, corrections, or discussions. Motion.
Seifert moves to approve the minutes of May 13th, 2025.
Guzikowski will second.
Roll call, beginning with Christine.
Anna, I.
Bouch aye.
Pshinsky, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Guzikowski, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, I.
Excuse me, Oldani, aye.
Moving on to item 4, it is a temporary sign proposal. Will be displayed no more than 30 days on the property at 361 West Town Square Way. This is for the farmer's market. Todd?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, as you are probably aware of this has been a kind of an annual process where we approve this temporary sign for the farmers market out here that will be there for more than 30 days. So that's why it's required to come through Plan Commission. It's going to be displayed through October, and it's going to look the same as it has the last 2 years. You can see that it's going to be placed at that northwest corner of the square out here, same height as the last previous years, and you can see that they haven't changed the graphics either on the sign. So we have a suggested motion for you on the screen, unless you have any questions.
Thank you, Todd. Questions, concerns? We'll start to my right. Commissioner Chandler?
No questions, thank you.
Brad?
No questions.
Don?
No questions.
Chris?
No questions.
No questions.
Steve?
No questions.
No questions.
I have none either, so we will call for a motion on item 4.
Oldani moves that the Plan Commission approves a temporary sign permit request for the Oak Creek Farmers Market at 361 West Town Square Way with the following conditions. 1, that all relevant code and DTS MUPDD requirements remain in effect. 2, that 172-inch by 48-inch by 94-inch temporary ground sign with one 1.5-foot by 6-foot attached hanging sign is approved in the location shown on the approved site plan. Sign shall be installed a minimum of 10 feet from property lines and rights of way. 3, that the temporary sign permit shall be valid through October 25th, 2025. The sign shall be removed by October 28th, 2025.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Steve.
Bouch aye.
Pshinsky, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Guzikowski, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, I. Anna, I.
Okay, item 5, site plan and architectural reviews. Review site, building, and related plans for the construction of a new multifamily resident building to be located at 2348 through 2389 West Colonial Woods Drive, submitted by Jeff Kleiner. Home Path Financial Partnerships. Todd?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. As you may recall, I believe it was late March 25th meeting when this development came before the Plan Commission. At the time, the applicant was proposing that this would be apartments as rental units, and due to the kind of rift or inconsistency with the HOA and their requirements for rental units, there was no motion at that time, or rather, it was action. The action was to hold it to the future meeting, which is today. But nothing else about the development or proposal has changed. Again, so this is zoned RM1, which is multifamily residential, and there's a PUD overlay as well. And they're proposing one of the 16-unit multifamily residential buildings This site plan was actually approved back in 2006. At that time, there was only a few of the buildings were actually constructed. Those you can see in the site plan as white. Then they're coming forth today to propose building of the number 5 here, which is one of the 16 unit buildings for that site. So there would be mostly 2-bedroom units in there. Some of them with also with a den. All the parking, they exceed the parking regulations. There's only required to have 16 all underground parking. They have 30. In addition, they have 9 parking spaces in a lot that they're creating to the west of the building. That parking lot will have access off of the Colonial Drive, which is a private road. The access to the underground parking will come off of South Orchard Way, which is a public road. They'll also be developing sidewalks for pedestrian access to the building as well. No change in the architecture, still a very traditional architecture matching the existing buildings that are out there. They're meeting the PUD had a requirement of 65% brick material for the exterior, so they're meeting that. Gabled roof, balconies, again, to fit right in with the existing buildings within that development. Landscaping wise, they're looking to add some foundation landscaping along the west and south edges of the building. They'll have shade trees lining Colonial Drive there per code. They'll be adding some lighting to the building. These will all be wall-mounted fixtures, all of them maximum 3,000 Kelvin, all directed downward. Again, meeting our requirements, city code. The applicant's here. Otherwise, if you have any questions, otherwise we have a suggested motion on the screen for you.
I'll invite the applicant up. If you want to say a few words? We'll need your name and address, sir.
My name is Mike Dufek. I'll be the contractor or one of the contractors on the project. Unfortunately, Jeff wasn't able to make it. He splits time between Wisconsin and Arizona and wasn't here for this meeting. But we worked with Jeff Kleiner and HomePath over the last several years. We were present at the last meeting when concerns were raised. HomePath wanted to comply and said, yes, we'll move the project to condos instead of rental units. They've also, just so everybody knows, I mean, the architects that originally drew this project didn't want anything to do with the condo project, so they resigned from the project. We had to pay them out, and they brought in a new architect just because of the liability associated with condos. HomePath has been working to meet any of the demands that were requested and meet current code, and we'll do whatever we can during the construction of the project to comply and do what is best for the community.
All right, thank you, sir. Stand by if there's questions. Is anybody, first of all, I know there's a lot of residents here that are concerned about it because they're building next to you. Is there anybody that would like to speak before I go to the commission? Please, we'll need your name and address, ma'am. Although not a public hearing, it's a light night.
Fine by me. Amy Peterselli, address 111 East Kilbourne Ave, Unit 1700 in Milwaukee. So my firm, Kamen and Cusimano, we represent Colonial Woods Homeowner Condominium Association. We were here at the previous meeting in March to just discuss the proposed plan, specifically the inclusion of all the units being rentals. I'm happy to hear. This is our first time outside of just reading the planned commission report for today. That there was a change of heart, that there's a new architectural firm working on this matter, because we still haven't been able to establish reliable contact with HomePath. We had one conversation with them. It was very one-sided, not in our favor. And it became pretty clear at that time, shortly after the previous meeting in March, that they were not willing to continue to communicate with us or work with us. So this was news to us when we had to go onto your website and look at the new proposed plan that it said condos. because again, we've kind of felt like we've fallen on deaf ears despite our attempts to communicate with HomePath. So in light of that, we are actually very grateful of the changes made to the proposed plan. Unfortunately, there are still some hesitations just given the longstanding issues between HomePath and the association. Most significantly would be the increase in traffic through the association in building these condominiums. We haven't been able to establish any sort of agreement for the use of the roads, the heavy traffic, the trucks, the construction work, or anything that shows that they'll try to clean up after themselves. So that would be something that we would request your approval be contingent on coming to some sort of signed agreement regarding their responsibilities for construction debris, repair of roads due to increased usage, and then also holding them accountable to the landscaping, although a few bushes here and there seems pretty trivial. When they built a few units in 2022 or 2020, the unit owners will have the exact dates. They failed to abide by any of the promises or plans that were approved regarding landscapes. So not only do we want to hold them accountable for that, but also moving forward and make sure there's some sort of mechanism in place to make sure that they respect the association's property. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that wants to make a statement?
Maria Ingenar, address is 2540 West Colonial Woods Drive. So I'm an owner and also a board member on our HOA. So Amy brought up about the landscaping. I was not the person who directly dealt with the person that was at HomePath, but there was email exchanges that I was a part of or got forwarded with the landscaping plans that the city had provided. So what she touched base on is that the city gave them landscape plan, kind of like what you just saw, that they didn't fulfill. So right now, out of our own pockets, we have to kind of fix up what they were supposed to. So there were like wooden benches that they were supposed to put in. None of that was there. The shrubs, the trees. So, I mean, I get that you can't, inventory is not always there to like match it, but the product that they were supposed to deliver is nowhere close. Also, what Amy touched base on, we had a call. The person was just, the demeanor was really awful. So we have no contact with HomePath. So if this moved forward, my concern is, how do we know when the project's gonna get done? You know, if there's problems along the way, just being the way that the communication has been this whole entire time, it's been almost like they do what they want when they want, and then we have to clean up the mess. So in a way, I hope everybody considers that on our end. Like, you're kind of just left with paying for the damages that they do to our roads, and then having to deal with paying out of our reserve to take care of what they didn't fulfill. So I hope everyone takes that in consideration, because that's my investment. And, you know, at the end of the day, you want to be able to have some kind of equity that shows, not like, oh my God, all my money got spent in their rentals or whatever they intend to do later on with the other 2 units. So, thank you.
Yes, sir. Name again, sir.
Apologize, I didn't give my name and address last time. It's Mike Dufek, 2715 Fieldridge Drive in Waukesha. I apologize for the difficulties that you have had. We're the contractor. We are not HomePath. We did not do the last buildings, and HomePath has told us that they were not happy with the last contractor. But I know that doesn't bad. I can tell you this: once projects move forward and we are approved, we create site logistic plans. We create schedules. We meet with HomePath every week. We would be happy to copy the board on any of those emails that have updates on construction. We've done multifamily projects all over southeastern Wisconsin and in Oak Creek. We just recently did all the townhomes down on Lake Shore. Lakeshore Commons for F Street development. I can assure you that our projects and our schedules, we're not perfect, but we will do everything we can to end on time. And we've never installed a landscape plan that didn't comply with the plan that was actually established. I think Oak Creek even has a landscape bond that we have to post. So but I can assure you that we would do it, and I can give you my business cards. So you have my cell phone number after this meeting if that works for you. So thank you.
Thank you. Anything else before I go to the commission? Yes, sir. Name and address. Oh, wait, gotta be on.
Michael Maddock, I'm talking loud enough, I think.
There you go.
Michael Maddock, 2200 West Colonial Woods Drive. I guess my only concern now with Home Path, I'm not knocking the construction company. We haven't had any completion of the roads that have been in there since 22. No curbs, no road finish, nothing. They reassured everybody that the existing road is going to be taken care of, my understanding. Where does that leave us with the roads that are not complete now? I don't know if there's anything that Home Path can do for that or not, but I want to voice my concern in regards to that. Because Home Path was the developer, so they must have had some control over what was supposed to be done with those roads, so is there going to be a pattern?
I'm probably not the best person to answer that.
Ashley was
Ashley,
involved in
can
that.
Can you talking about the cul-de-sac?
Right, so there was a lot of conversation, email correspondence, there was a lot. This was a bit of a challenging one because there was a development agreement for this entire project back in the 2000s. Developer ended up going under from what I was understanding. And that initial plan for that development did not completely get finished. At the end of the day, it was determined that this is a private matter. It's a private road. And I mean, I don't want to try to recite the entire conversations that had taken place because there were a lot of them. So I don't feel like I'd be doing it justice to try to rehash everything, but at the end of the day, it's a private matter and it's not something that the city can enforce.
Oh, you'll have to come to the microphone, ma'am. And name and address.
Jessica Knoll, 2160 West Colonial Woods Circle. So in regards to that, in the road, if the original plans were approved by the city, my question is, did those original plans for that developer include finishing the roads in the cul-de-sac had they completed the whole project?
I would have to go back and look and refresh myself on that piece of it.
Because then what I'm thinking or hoping to understand is if that was the case, they went under and then Home Path purchased the development plans, wouldn't it then be, if that was the case, that they would have to comply what they presented to the city and not be a private matter?
Right, again, I would have to go back and look and dig, and I do not want to speak out of place at this time until I'm able to dig further into this, because I know there was a lot that went back and forth on this.
Did you say a lot or a law?
A lot, okay, yes, sorry. A lot, yes. There was a lot that went back and forth on this. I know we dug up old development agreement. There was a lot, and it's been several months since we talked about this, so I just would not feel right speaking on that. Right now, I'm more than happy to dig it up again, rehash it, get in contact with you or whatever, appropriate party, but I just, at this point, I don't feel.
I just wanted to bring that because what it seemed like you were ending on was that it was going to be a private matter, but I feel like that needs to be answered first before it's a private matter between the association and Home Path to work it out, because if it was in those initial plans, we should be following through with that, and holding them to that, not just making sure that the road that's there is complete and not damaged, but completing the road that is very much a risk hazard to everybody who walks through it. And we're currently letting people who don't live in our area walk on the path in this private area. And if something should happen to them on a curb tripping, And are we gonna be held liable because now this road's not complete? A lot of things to think about just beyond that.
Right, and I know we did originally look at that and came to an agreement that if the contractor did damages to what was currently out there, it's the contractor's responsibility to bring that back up to the condition that it was prior to. So I mean, that was a definitive, and we, you know, that was something that we did agree on. You know, when a developer goes under like that, it's my understanding then it's not up to the city then to pay for those improvements. But again, let's look back to see all the conversations that had taken place, you know, to that point, and I'd be more than happy to get in touch with you at that point.
And I don't need to be put in touch with them. Going with our board and our attorney would be best, but just as somebody who lives in the circle, that's like my initial thought. Considering working with HomePath again.
Those are very good points.
Again, 2540 West Colonial Woods. So I do have a question as we're talking about that road. So it is a private road right now, but with so many the development, as you know, there's apartments basically sandwiching us now, and then potentially more going into Drexel, like proposed, like across from Northwestern. Is there consideration, or is there a way for us to move it to be a city road? Because as of right now, we can't stop any of the traffic, and it has increased so much with deliveries and everyone and construction for those apartments. Now, I can be a Karen, like flag people down, but like when they're driving a crane across we have 3 speed bumps to kind of stop it, and they're just blowing you off. They're not listening, but at the end of the day, we're paying for that road being, you know, the condition that they're leaving it in. And it's scary to see that, like, if this is the condition that the road is going to go, like, how is it going to affect after all of the new units coming in? Maybe 3 at the end. So I don't know if there's how we move forward to trying to ask if the city can turn it into a public road. Versus us having it as a private road. We have signs up that's, you know, we're doing our best. Signs at the beginning, like around that circle. And then when the apartments are redoing their roads, so they rope it off. Where do they go? Down our road. And no care in the world that they're, you know, smashing our roads that we as homeowners are paying for out of our pocket at the end of the day. And I don't want to be assessed for that. Some of these, you know, some owners may not even have the money to be specially assessed for that. So, I mean, I don't know what the process is, but would you consider making it?
A larger question. I mean, it's not part of this agenda,
Okay.
but
Maybe.
as we go down that path, this
Think about
isn't
it.
the only case like that, but
And
it's probably one of the better examples in the city of where X led to Y to Z and put us in this situation.
Yeah.
But I completely understand.
Yeah.
I
It's highly used road, you know, with now so many apartments and so many buildings, and I think they're not even done in the back part of it. So just thought I'd bring it up, and maybe there's consideration, or maybe we can work off that later on.
Yep. Thank you.
Donna Saven, I live at 2130 West Colonial Woods Circle. I'm one of those folks in the circle. And please, everybody, want to apologize ahead of time. I saw Mission Impossible this afternoon, so I'm a little fired up. Would you folks be able to answer this for me? When a developer comes into an area in Oak Creek, and they present plans to Oak Creek, and Oak Creek approves the plans, is there any follow-up on Oak Creek's side when the developer says, we're all done with that section? I'm really having a hard time with this street. Something is going to happen. It's not if it'll happen. That street is dangerous. Something is going to happen, and Oak Creek is going to be getting some legal paperwork out of that. We know that Home Path isn't they aren't responsible for anything. They act like this is our problem. They won't respond. But does Oak Creek have a follow-up where they come out and say, oh yeah, the street is done, this landscaping is done? Is that part of the planning committee? Anybody?
Typically, yes, inspection goes out,
Okay.
gives occupancy. In the case of the road, and this was our experience with some subdivisions, a bond is put down to ensure that it gets finished. Usually it isn't the entire cost, but a bond goes into it. And usually that bond is not released until it is inspected. So we would have to check to see if the city's holding a bond on that.
Okay,
And I don't know what triggers it, but in the case of some subdivisions we had, went through a lot of hoops legally speaking. Our city attorney was involved to try to, first of all, take care. First of all, the city ended up taking care of it.
Right, they did, and the city did, from what I understand, included that section from 27th Street up to Orchard Way with a previous project with some funds that were left over in that escrow account that was referenced, because that's the portion that was developed. I'm not sure if there was a special assessment that went out at that point, how many funds were remaining in there, or how that was ultimately paid for, but I do know that it was included with the city project, and I don't believe that it was something that the city ended up funding, but again, I would have to verify that as well. So, I mean, it was all said correctly that a development, once it happens, there's a development agreement for public infrastructure, public improvements. In this situation, there was public infrastructure as far as utilities go. The roadway was not public, but in those situations that prior to occupancy, everything that was approved by Plan Commission and in those plans are required to be completed, or in an instant where it happens to be like a winter occupancy, a bond or escrow account is taken for that to be completed.
okay.
So that's typical practice. So again, given the history on this one and how things had changed from the original development, from what was developed, it's a little bit more complex, and I was not involved at that time, so a lot of it was digging and research, and it's been a little while since
Sure.
I've researched this one.
But did I understand you that it would, from 27th to Orchard Way, which does not include the circle? Is that correct?
Correct, that was not resurfaced, like with that final surface during that roadway project, and I don't know why that section wasn't included. I'm not sure, but I do know that we do have plans that were available for that other section where people were residing.
Okay. And did you inherit the street for the circle?
Sir, you'll have to be on the mic.
We were not, we don't have any infrastructure costs in ours, other than the surface parking lot and the below-ground parking. That was all just, our construction is all confined just to that lot.
So again, we're just a little bit off the agenda, but this all weighs into the conversation as well, because we have some history. Well, so, but I do think, my personal opinion, that the city does have to really look at this, hold those standards. As the two residents actually live in the circle, they express their concerns, and there are major liabilities here. So, who's responsible for that? We really shouldn't have to go down that path, because the work should be completed. So I'll have to talk to our main engineers, as well as probably our legal department here as well. Okay. Yes, please,
Okay.
because we're recording for minutes.
Jessica Knoll, 2160 West Colonial Woods. One thing to consider when you guys are either approving this or not, the street that is city-owned, that our entrance to that new parking underground structure will be, between the two side, the apartments on both sides, lie down there, just lie. And we, coming up our private street, obviously we know that now and we're slowing down and looking all ways, but they're just blowing through that. And so we have to keep in mind that people are gonna be blowing through it, but people are gonna be coming up their garage exit from that new building or trying to go down into it. So I don't know if, with this approval, if you guys would want to put stop signs on your Orchard Way, I think that's what it's called, Orchard Way, on the actual city street, so that they have to stop because they're coming up to our garage entrance. So just something to keep in mind if you're going to approve that, or if we can ask the builders, well, I guess that would be a city stop sign, but something to keep in mind.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go to the commission. Christine?
Yes, I have a question for the board, actually. So I don't know who wanna come up and answer the question.
Maria Engenar, 2540 West Colonial Woods.
So you were mentioning this is local roads, like, or you guys own those roads, correct?
On the
private
road.
roads right
Yes,
now.
so the road going down is a private road, and we do have, there are signs on there that says no construction, vehicles, and also it does say private road in the front at the, we're closest to 27th Street and towards the back end too.
That's what I'm gonna ask. So you have a sign saying private road, do not, there's no access, it's only like for resident only.
Correct.
Okay. So when you have someone going in or like trucks turning around, what happens if that?
They do not care. And
Okay.
and myself being, I think I'm younger, stopping them, basically going, where are you going? Like, I know you don't live, we get to know each other, everyone's vehicles that are going in and out. When there's humongous construction trucks going towards that back way, or residents that want to take a shortcut to either the left or the right in the back for those apartments, they could care less. There are people who will just flip you off. And they're like, I mean, they don't even care about their own cars because they're just like literally popping off of those speed bumps. And we have 3 that are trying to slow down the traffic a little bit. So, I mean, I think my neighbors can see I've tried before. And you know, as I work full time, so by the time I get home, I don't see all the traffic all day, every day, but like it's Monday through Friday and if not worse on weekends. So there's just, I guess it's just been an influx of that as soon as we had the more apartments come on for sandwiching us inside. So I think most people think it's, if they are unaware of or unfamiliar with the area, they're not even paying attention to those signs to even think like, hey, I shouldn't be in here. They're just like, shortcut, let me just go through.
Yeah, so this is a different, like, today we're just discussing the new building that they are going to build in here and the material and everything. So my question to you is, what kind of enforcement you're doing that kind of conflict of the addition of that new structure and a new residential? So in order for you to have like security, for example, in your own house, you have to have enforcement. You have to have just a sign, like you said, nobody cares. But there's also have to be like consequences for you to access your private road. You don't have that. So
I mean, I guess I don't know what else.
Yeah, but, okay, so the road, we get it. We got problems with the road, but really got to get back on your.
exactly.
Going
So
forward.
the road and the issue that we're having today, it has pretty much nothing to do with the action item or the proposal that we're discussing today of the addition of that structure.
Yeah, I think we're just thinking about like just, you know, the project starting and the construction of it is they have to go through those roads and it's just heavy machinery and just, you know, going through it that's how we, you know, just damage and, you know, it's.
The only public way to access that site
So what I was gonna say is, so the only thing is with the contractor, if you're just gonna work with him, and I think he already mentioned that, he's gonna work with you and he's gonna make sure that he's gonna clean up and he's gonna contact the board that there is no issues. But-
My only concern is that, you know, he's working for Home Path. You know, we've been trying to even have some sort of conversation, just a discussion, just to introduce one another, to try to like have an update on, you know, just to talk, build a relationship. And we just haven't had anyone who would even, well, the only person that we've gotten talked to and who said he was representing Jeff from Home Path was just so unprofessional, did not want to hear. It was just my way or the highway. That like, if a contractor is working for Home Path, he has no care of pleasing the HOA or the existing owners. I'm afraid to be like, okay, well, you know, I'm going to go back to him and say that, you know, we've broken some of the road, and if Home Path goes, we're not going to pay for it. Like, I mean, there's only so much we could do.
So let's just kind of get back to the point. We get it. A cement truck comes down there and damages that road. It's a private road. It's like a cement truck going down your driveway,
Yeah.
right? To pour your neighbor's slab.
So
There-
that gentleman said, the contractor said he's gonna make sure that once he goes in, everything will be cleaned up, so.
Well, y-
Um,
yeah, let's get back to the building itself on that. As far as the road goes, I'm just gonna say now, because I'm gonna say it later. As far as I'm concerned, there's a private access to this new building off Colonial Woods Drive. I think there should be a written easement between the homeowners association and this new building. Otherwise, they really shouldn't be on that. That's a private road, and this is a problem. It's a sticking point, without a doubt. I don't know. It's not to be figured out here, but there's no way they should have an entrance on that road without an easement. Todd?
That's a planning
I
issue.
mean, so this new structure is going to be part of the HOA, correct?
That was my big question. I mean,
so
if it's part of their
they're part of the HOA and-
Is that a written agreement right now existing between Colonial Woods Home Association and Pathway?
But doesn't the HOA covers the area, right? That was part of the HOA, was that lot, that whole part,
It
it's one
was,
parcel.
but the HOA, that's when it was a development. It's no longer part of the development because the guy booked town, left it hanging, and somebody else bought up the property.
Amy Peterselli, 11-1 East Kilbourne Ave, Unit 1700, Milwaukee. So it is still part of the association. All we are asking, we understand, the contractor, that's the nicest human we've talked to regarding this project thus far, hands down. I would love to just email him. That would be great. Unfortunately, we can only do so much with him because Home Path is the individual entity that's overseeing, that owns the land, that's overseeing these projects. So yes, they're private roads. They would have access to them for egress, to park their cars if they were unit owners, but they're building a new building on their and utilizing the private road for that. So all we want is there to be an easement agreement. What we would ideally want would be for the approval of this project to be subject to an easement agreement being executed by the parties within 30 days of this meeting, or something to that effect, so that it forces Home Path to talk to us in a nice way. But their previous representative was just, it was out of this world. So all we want is to make sure that in approving this and allowing this to move forward, that the association and the association funds are protected, because right now Home Path isn't paying any assessments. So until those buildings are occupant ready, they don't pay anything towards the association. They just get to use the road and use the common element space for their construction of the building. So what we want to ensure is that they contribute to the road being repaired from the use of these heavy trucks and machinery, to ensure that the landscaping is repaired if for some reason that they mess it up. And also, maybe we would love to throw in there that they fix the roads that they messed up on the cul-de-sac. We'll see if that makes it into the agreement. That's not for you all to listen to or to be a part of, but we would want there to be some sort of easement agreement regarding the use of the road and the property as a contingency to the approval of the project, or however you see fit, because you see these things more often.
Okay, Christine, you still have the floor.
Personally, I think it's not an issue for the Plan Commission to be talking about. It's more so on real estate and a different department within the city to be discussing. So because we're here just to apply codes and make sure that public roads are adhering to those codes, but internal private roads or anything else, I don't think it's applicable to where we're talking about here. So I don't think this is the right place to talk about this or to discuss this or to even approve any of this. So I understand where you're coming from. I would be very upset if I were you and I have to pay for something that someone else is causing the problem, or a contractor left behind a big mess. But unfortunately, this is, we only approve the codes and not the actual project funding or how they do their steps or the prosecution and progress. But anything else, it has to be between the owner of the land and the contractor. So nothing to do with the city direction, I should say, or how we approve this. So
Okay. I mean, it concerns me that there's no requirement that there be some sort of accountability for construction projects and cleaning up, I guess.
That there is.
Okay.
That there
Or repair
Does
of roads that were.
and should, but this has been a lingering problem. Should be taken care of. Circumstance of, as I said before, the developer going out of business. Through an at some point, we have to determine when a public road crosses a private road, where that entrance lies. We typically don't gate it now. Legal, but it's your private road. Can you go 5 feet in on the road, install ballards or barriers? The road, right? So we as a city really have to come to better grips.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think our only thing would be that you're one of our only platforms to communicate with HomePath, unfortunately, or to do anything with them.
Has staff talked to HomePath about this situation? I guess that question, let me ask that.
I don't know if you had
Sorry, you can't speak from the audience.
I don't know if you guys have had conversations regarding the road with HomePath, but I'm not aware of any from community development, although I haven't had a history here very long, so I would have to do some digging as well to see if there was any on this matter, but not recently.
No, not recently.
No, really don't like doing this. Putting conditions. It's not our style. It's not our style. And again, second time the applicant, which, puts contractor in a bad light. This is not the contractor's job. Go ahead, ma'am.
Joanne Stone, 2570 West Colonial Woods Drive. With regard to what you were saying, that it's not for this meeting, if one of the two access points is the private road, doesn't it make it part of this meeting? The fact that they have to have two entrances and one is off of Orchard Way and one is off of Colonial Woods Drive, that is what the proposal is, so doesn't that make it part of this meeting?
Correct, it's part of the site plan.
Yes, I was just gonna say, this is part of the site plan, but I want to restrain from this. I think engineering, I don't want to put Ashley on the spot here. Engineering should be would be the right person to answer all of these questions, because they make the communication between them and the contractor and the access from the main road of 27th Street to the local or the private entrances, and how they are acceptable and what's not. So engineering and others do those approvals. That's why I'm saying it's not.
But if you're approving a site plan that includes access, that access should be 100% before it's approved, I would think.
That is correct.
She's correct.
Right, and I guess this is a unique one. I guess I'm trying to equate it to, so when you have access off of a public road, the city is out there to verify that the public road is left in the same condition after the contractor is complete. This one to me is unique because we have access agreements when you have two separate properties. Like if you have one access that's being shared with adjacent property owners, that each of those property owners are different, and there's an agreement written up for both of those properties to access that. This one to me just seems very unique because to me this should be that it's one property owner and the people that are building on it would be the same owner. So that's why this one is unique to me, because they would be responsible for that.
It is, and Ashley's 100% correct. It's not, it's part of a separate development, but it's utilizing your property. I'm not very comfortable going forward with it without knowing if there's an easement. Yes, sir.
Mike Dufek again, and we've done this in different communities before, so if I was gonna speak on it, I live in a subdivision that's a PUD, and it's a decade old and only half the lots have been built on. One of the exits to because of emergency vehicle accesses, they gave them two entrance points. One has bollards on it, so nobody can cut through our subdivision. You can only get in from one side. There's removable bollards for in case of emergency vehicle needs to get through. We've been working through the process. It's a separate process. Every homeowner in our community has to sign off on the fact that we want to deed those streets back to the city so that the city can maintain them. Every single homeowner association has to do it. We have 3 people in our subdivision that don't want to sign off because they like the private road and they don't ever want access through there. If everybody in your community is open, I think it's only going to get more difficult if you wait till you have another 48 units potentially in there, because they're only going to be able to access the subdivision from one side. Try to get it deeded back if you can now. The other thing I was to say is just, and again, I don't want to speak for HomePath. I would only say that I know that when we've spoken to them, and we don't speak to them every week or every month because we've just been working on the approval process and getting the drawings updated. I think because of the developers agreement, they have the right to do condos or rentals. I think they've come to the table and said, we understand that you guys want to do condos. We'll comply and do, no? That was my understanding when I spoke to the attorney at Oak Creek. There's the developers agreement. In any case, I just don't want to muddy the water. I guess I don't know what HomePath's course is going to be if they don't get the approvals. My understanding is that they said they want to get these things started before too long, and I don't know what that would mean if
Then it would be their best interest to show up.
Agreed. Yes.
So
There's a lot of unknowns here, and
all right, Christine,
Yeah,
no?
I'm good.
Steve?
Yeah, I'm very disappointed that the owner of this did not show up. Now, I just want to clarify, are they going to be part of the association when it's done? They will be. Okay.
That's written, documented
That's
somewhere. I've only heard it. They're can't speak from the audience, but that's okay. They're indicating yes. Okay, Steve?
So when that gets built and their entrance is onto a private because they're part of the association, they ultimately become owners of that road as well. Is that correct? Yes. So they will have some skin in the game at that point.
At that point, but prior.
Prior. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would really like to see some kind of an agreement ahead of time, in my opinion. Did anybody ever call the police when these people are coming through? Because technically, if they're private property, they're trespassing. I mean, they should be able to get tickets at any job sites I'm on. If it's private and, the public can't go there, police can easily give them tickets for doing that. It sounds like you have a big problem there. Yeah, I still think there's a lot of unknowns. I'm kind of disappointed because I thought at the last meeting there was going to be a lot more communication between the owner and the association. To me, that didn't happen, which I'm actually honestly surprised that didn't happen because I thought it was going to happen. That's all I have.
Ashley?
I have nothing further.
Chris?
I'm disappointed that the owner isn't here. There's so many questions that need to be answered. I'm not sure I support
Yeah. Don?
Yeah, I'm not interested in doing too much with this without the owners here. Once again, I don't know if they just don't want to face the residents. I don't know what the deal is, but so much going on. So the contractor deserves every benefit of the doubt. I think everyone would agree with that. So there was a couple things that have been fixed since last time this came through. One, it went from rentals to condos. We held because of that. So that was accomplished. Two, the construction company had a problem with, and I don't know if the architects were part of the problem or not, but both those have been changed the way I understand it. So I feel like, this commission held, so you guys get that worked out, and a lot of that was worked out. As far as the traffic is concerned, I mean, we got it. In my neighborhood, I can't think of a neighborhood that doesn't have cars flying down their side streets. No offense, this is not a unique situation to you. The only thing that's unique is it's a private road. What is unique, though, is, especially after hearing this today, you guys might be able to do something about it. Unfortunately, I can't go put a ballard out in the middle of my road, so I would put it on the board to start really looking into what are your actual options to slow this down. You put the speed bumps in. Apparently, that's not working, from what I'm hearing. So I would say.
She said they're speeding on Orchard.
Oh, okay. I thought they
Which
said
is
they
a
were going
public
over
road.
the speed bumps and
They're
messing up
probably
their cars.
speeding on Colonial Woods.
Yeah, right. So I think like it's tough to come here and ask us to solve your traffic problems right on the night when believe me, I have like thrown my hands up, cars flying down my road all the time. It's ridiculous. And we got lots of kids in my neighborhood, lots of them. It's an ongoing battle. I'm a big proponent of stop signs. I would be more than happy to help you out with the stop signs. I've been trying to get one in my street for 20 years, and I still haven't gotten one. So, and right at where a school bus stops there, and still haven't gotten one. But that being said, all that being said, that's not part of what we're doing here. I need Pathway here. I need them here. I need them to start answering some questions to our faces, not speculating. And I'm sorry for the builders. That's not sorry about that. But they need to be here. And I'm not interested in one bit moving forward with this until they're here. And I think the city needs to, we need some definitive answers on the first thing that came through. Did some of that responsibility that the city put forward, did that transfer when the first developer, this is so hard to keep track of, first developer skipped town, is there still stuff that they were obligated to do per the city still hanging out there, whether it's with the curbs, whether it's with the public streets, the private streets, whatever it is? I think we heard a lot of we don't knows, and Ashley, I'm glad you didn't say without knowing. So, we want to know for sure what those answers are. But again, Pathway could maybe be a help for answering those questions right now, but they're not here. So just too much, my head's spinning, and there's no way I'm interested in this tonight anyway.
I'm sorry, but I have to be excused, so,
Go ahead, Christine.
all right.
Fred?
Okay. Again, we seem to gather here and trying to solve all the problems, and we can't do it without all the people that are involved, that are here. So I really look at holding this item until we get everybody here and we can solve the problems together.
Okay, thank you. Gossing?
I do have a question for the contractor.
Sure.
Who's representing the applicant? Is that correct?
Just speaking on behalf of the development itself, but sure, what was the question?
Okay, one of my questions is about the actual items that are being built. So it's been transitioned from apartments to condos. Can you share details on what's the difference?
There's no difference at all in the building, the style itself. The units just won't be rented. It's the exact same units, exact same square footage. In the 3 lots that are remaining, each one of them will be a 16-unit development that's exactly the same as they're currently drawn and were drawn previously.
So you're using the drawings from the prior architect?
Yes, they had to assign them to there's a new architect of record, but the drawings stayed the same. Yes.
So I guess I'm not understanding, how is it transitioning from an apartment to a condo then?
It's just how they're going to sell or rent the units. It's going to be.
Yeah, they won't be rentals.
They
They'll
won't be
sell
rentals.
individual units, just like they're gonna build them as condominiums
Each one will have its separate address.
and
Each
tax.
one will be owned as a.
So what's the additional requirements needed to make it a condo?
Tax keys, homeowners association, changes financing probably.
There already are separate tax keys for each one of the units there.
Is there?
It is?
So,
Yep, there's already addresses and 16 different tax keys for that building.
so instead
They're
of
just
a
all
rental
owned by the same
manager,
person.
it goes under a homeowners association.
And
It's part,
it-
they pay fees in to take care of things like the road and the landscape, things like that. And in a rental, it's included in the rent.
And this HOA will be different than the one that exists?
No,
No.
they'll
Be the
join
same.
that
no,
one.
they're a part of the HOA.
So, well,
They already have a tax key number and units, and
and they
the-
have a document.
there's a
There's
document.
a signed document somewhere.
They each have we have tax key numbers for each one of them.
We had them the last meeting as well, but we didn't have an HOA commitment. You know what? Okay.
I just wanted to see who was representing the applicant, if they had
There's-
more information.
There's
but
nobody here.
Yes,
There's
so
nobody here.
with that said, I do have a lot more questions,
Yeah,
but it's
It's
appropriate for
irrelevant
that.
at this
Yep.
point. So, here's the deal. With all this swirling around, heard it from the commissioners, I feel this way. There's many questions. I would suggest we hold. Hold for 2 weeks, and hold for a month. Those are your options. Until we get some answers, some definitive answers, to iron this out. Yes, sir. Please don't tell me you're with the applicant after all of this.
No. Jay Airforth, W124S9526 Weatherwood Circle, Muskego. Sorry for this, we're 0 for 2, it sounds like. If I could be so bold to ask for part of the motion that if you move this or put this, at rest or on hold, part of that, instead of wasting your time again, could part of that motion be that they meet with us?
Who are you?
I'm Weatherwood Circles. Or I'm sorry, I'm Colonial Woods.
You live in Colonial Woods.
My son lives there. I'm on part of the deed. So,
Okay.
so I'm a third
Thank you for that.
owner. Sorry for the confusion. But I'm just, if part of the motion could be before we bring it to you, that maybe our 2 parties have an agreement to bring to you prior to this happening again.
Thank you, and that's what I'd like to see. If there's gonna be some sort of easement on the road, if there's gonna be a document, we all said they're joining an HOA, which is great. You know what? I'm going to the moon too, I can say that. Until I got a ticket to the moon or something and I'm there, let's see something in writing going forward. If it exists, great, bring it forward. Also, I have to gather more information from my staff regarding this whole public-private road deal.
Okay,
And even though it's not part of this, the circle. So,
So Mayor and Todd, can we make a motion based on an agreement two other parties have to come to? How do you enforce that?
I don't know if that can be like a condition of
no,
holding it.
I would just
but
put it on hold for 2 weeks until documentation of an HOA, and I don't know, you can't even work the road out. Just hold it to a definitive date and try to get it together from there. And we want to talk to Home Path. Our staff needs to speak with Home Path. If we can get in a room for 2 hours, and I'll help facilitate that. I don't care if they're on Zoom or where they are, but we need representation from Home Path. So, 2 weeks takes you got choice of the 10th
24th
or the 24th.
or the
Go to the 24th with it.
I would go for the 24th.
Yeah.
I would too. Can we, if you don't, Todd or whoever, if we don't get confirmation that Home Path is confirmed that they'll be here in person, can we yank it from the agenda?
yeah, I mean, we can say they're not ready to be back on to appear at the meeting and hold it
Yeah,
further.
I think at this point it doesn't hit the agenda until they confirm they're going to be here. That's the way I feel.
Well,
about it.
hopefully we can have a meeting and iron these details out
Yeah,
and have
great.
this documentation.
Cool.
Okay. I'm going to end the discussion and look for a motion.
Seifert moves to put this item 5 on hold till June 24th.
Donnie seconds.
Roll call. Ashley?
Jinsky, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
Alchai.
Okay. Item 6, certified survey map combining the properties at 7228 South 27th Street and 7236 South 27th Street.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, so these are two properties that are located on 27th Street, just south of Rawson, both Zone B4 General Business District, both owned by the same ownership, and they're looking to combine the two parcels into one. As it currently sits, there's a multi-tenant building that straddles over the property line, so this would be combining the parcels so that the building that's currently there would be all contained within one parcel instead of straddling the two. Again, to kind of show you what that looks like right now, that building that's straddling over the 1.3 acre lot and the 4.25 acre lot. Again, they're just proposing a CSM that would combine those into one, I'm sorry. And this is all in an effort to, you'll see in the next item, they're coming with a modifications to the building that's there. So
Okay.
the applicant's here if you have any questions.
You want to answer questions or just wait, sir? If you want, you can make a general statement, or you can wait if there's any questions. Okay, he indicated he'll wait. Chelsea?
No questions, thank you.
Fred?
No questions at this time.
No questions.
No
Chris?
questions.
Ashley?
No questions, thanks.
No questions.
No questions for me. So let's move on a motion on, I believe it's item 6.
Oldani moves that the Plan Commission recommends to the Common Council that the certified survey map to combine the properties at 7228 South 27th Street and 7236 South 20th Street be approved with the following conditions: that all technical corrections, including but not limited to spelling errors, minor coordinate geometry corrections, and corrections required for compliance with the municipal code and Wisconsin statutes, are made prior to recording.
Seepert seconds.
Roll call. Bukevich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Seepert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
Bouch, aye.
Ibshinski, aye.
And item 7 is site and architectural review for plans for modifications at Mimosa. Proposed business to be located at 7228 South 27th Street and 7236 South 27th Street.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, so we were just talking about this parcel, and this is the reason why they're combining it, is so that they can do modifications to the site to make way for a future restaurant there. You can see that that's the existing, a photo of the existing building as you look at it from 27th Street. Their site plan proposes mostly changes to the western side of the property. Currently, you can see in the corner here that that building, if you're familiar with it, has a canopy that hangs out. That's like a gable roof. So they're looking to remove that from the building facade. They'll be widening the driveway that exists as well to 24 feet, repaving and restriping the parking structure, doing some landscaping in landscaping beds. And as you can see, they're also including the dumpster location to be way far at the rear of the building. And so we've been working with this applicant for a bit, trying to get appropriate plans in place. As you can see, they're making these, proposing the landscaping, for example. So you'll see a condition in the report that, condition on them providing a landscaping plan prior to any permits being issued, so that we have an clear inventory of what landscaping is going to be planted and where. Also working with them on to get a revised site plan to us before permits are issued. Just to clarify some of the things which they've done in even a draft since the report was finalized for you guys tonight, was to add in notes about the repaving and restriping along 27th Street too. You may have seen there's these kind of old, shorter concrete light posts that they plan on eliminating in part of their renovations. As far as the dumpsters as well, you'll see at least on this plan too, they initially proposed that they would be enclosed with wood material. So we'll be working with them to revise that elevations as well for the dumpsters, so that their masonry is per required. And also they provided us the elevations for architecture, which is the south and west side is what they provided, which is where they're doing most of their renovation or modification. But looking before we get issue any permits to get elevations for the north and east elevations, which we've been told there won't be physical modifications other than they'll be painting those facades to match, a cream color to match the rest of the building. So you can see from the architectural plans that they did provide for the west and the south, they intend on changing out the windows. As I mentioned, they're getting rid of that canopy that's in front, that's a gabled roof, and replacing it with more of a flat front vestibule structure to the front of the building, and generally reducing the eave overhang to just make it more of a flat, vertical, more modern looking facade. Here's some kind of photos of what they have going on right now, upper, and then below that is a rendering of what the end product should be for that west elevation. So with that, as you know, the applicant's here if you have any questions. Suggested motion on the screen, as I mentioned, there's some additional kind of conditions for getting us final plans so that we have on record exactly what's happening. But we'll ensure that everything is done according to code.
Thank you, Todd. Go right to the commission. Steve, any questions?
No questions. Looks very nice. Nice improvements.
Ashley?
No questions.
Chris?
Todd, is there, any, call for any rental units? Like, there used to be rentals on the building?
I mean, it's 6 units right now, which are all retail.
Retail, oh,
Yeah,
got it.
so it's not zoned
Yep,
to allow for the.
Yep, retail, okay,
Mhm.
thank you. Answers my question then, thank you.
Don?
No questions. It's good to see that someone's going to give it another shot at that location, but it looks like it's going to get quite the facelift, which I kind of like. So, no questions. Looks good.
Brad?
No questions at this time.
I do have a question, a couple questions for the applicant.
I state my name? Yes.
Yes, please.
Apostoli.
Name and address.
My home address or this
You
one?
can do the business.
Okay. Apostoli Evaniades, 7228 South 27th Street, Oak Creek. Thank you.
Okay, one of my questions is in regards to the amount of customers that will be, are planned to be at this location. Approximately how many individuals? And the reason I'm asking,
Yes.
because it's linked to parking.
So we are estimating, so currently we are doing anywhere between 200 to 550 covers a day at our current location. And we envision we will do a little bit more in this one. It will be slightly bigger by about 35%, 30% in seating. So I would expect about 750 being the maximum of this is guests throughout the entire shift. So from our 7:30 opening to our 2:30 closing time, that's the span of time, and so it's spread out. The seating capacity will be near 200 seats for the main part of the building, and we'll be phasing in later on the banquet, which will fit roughly is what we're estimating around 80 seats, I believe, Tom? Yeah, so around 80 seats. So if that gives you an idea of how many people we can have in the building at a certain time.
So with that said, and I may have missed this, where's the parking located? Because I just see the maybe 10 to 12 spots there versus 200?
So and
East end of the building is
yes, it's not marked on this plan. Would you like?
So will have to be a modification that we make for future plans, is showing the striping for that rear portion, but that whole, as was alluded to, the entire east side, there's a huge parking lot in the back. It's very faded. I don't know if were there stripes at one time, probably, but it's in rough shape. They're going to be resurfacing it and striping. So they'll have to show that they have the appropriate number of parking spaces for.
Okay. And then with that quantity of customers coming in throughout the day, so where do they enter and exit? Where's the flow of traffic? I'm just trying to understand that too.
Absolutely. There are 2 entrances and exits to the property right on 27th Street. If you can see, they have, I don't know how to describe them. There are 2 openings on either side of the canopy that we are proposing. They have the little, sorry, Mr. Rail, how would you describe that?
I'm sorry, what were you referring to?
I'm trying to describe where the entrances are. On the
Maybe I could show have an entrance on this side, which faces north, right? And then I believe there's one on the back side as well.
My apologies. Were you requesting
traffic.
car entrances,
Oh,
car
car
entrance
vehicles.
to the parking
On
lot. Yes.
27th.
Yeah, so there's
two of 'em.
2 drives currently, or access into the parking lot. Here and here are both driveways going access points into their business.
Access the back, you go around the south side of the building.
And I do not recall this area, so is there a lane that you can slow down in that's not oncoming traffic?
7th Street?
Uh-huh.
No, there is not a designated left-hand turn lane. That would be up to the state DOT. But, they don't have that on businesses such as Pick and Save down the way. I am not a DOT person.
Okay, and with that said, so what is the flow of traffic actually on the property? How will the traffic flow in and out?
Of Average 1905 South First Street, Milwaukee.
And my apologies, let me share why I'm asking that.
Sure.
Because to my understanding, you have entrances on 2 different sides, an entrance and exit where pedestrians can walk, right? They can walk to that area. So I'm just trying to understand the flow of traffic for safety purposes.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right now, I mean, you can see with the existing canopy, the sign and landscaping, when you drive down 27th Street, it's people coming in and out, it's a little tough. That's partially what we're taking that all down, and now it's going to really open up those 2 entrances. They're standard DOT, they're over 32 feet. I have to measure them again, but the survey updated that. But most of the people, because when you're coming south on 27th, you have to go a little bit past the property to make a U-turn to come back. So pretty much everyone's gonna be coming north and then going into that first curb cut, which then takes you either, you can see, not a busy day, a lot of the parking's right up front, otherwise there's a very large parking lot in the back.
Thank you.
I don't have a lot. You covered the dumpster. Parking is gigantic in the back. There's multiple entrances from the back. The sign. Right now you have pretty prominent sized sign there. Will the sign remain?
That will be a separate proposal that we're working on with Michael Sines from Racine. We are considering keeping the existing sign but refacing it and bringing it up to par, changing not changing again. That I'm gonna let Michael Sines really
Correct.
help guide us in
It's
this.
not part of this. I understand that. I'm just saying it's a very prominent sign, and whether you're grandfathered in or not, I think you'd get that type of sign again.
Right. I mean, if it stays, it would be grandfathered. They'll be, as he alluded to, they'll be coming to a future plan commission meeting with a master sign plan because they have over 6 tenants, they have 6 tenants, so they'll need a plan approved.
So that's just kind of my point.
Absolutely. We'd like for it.
Keep in mind, but the building itself looks great. People seem excited. They know about it. So.
Mayor, I do have one follow-up
Yes.
question. So you brought up, so you mentioned you are going to have a back entrance for patrons.
There is a back
Looks like
entrance.
that door's still there. That's always kind of, and you're going to have that open to patrons, so they can come in the front or the back.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then they would have to go up the front to get seated. They just walk up to the front.
Yes, the layout we have in the front is pretty direct. You go just one turn. Once you go in, it's just one turn, and you're able to go to the front desk, which is, if you're familiar with the space, is where the hearth used to be, where they used to cook the steaks.
Right.
Is now where we'll be greeting guests.
Yep. And then on the south side, kind of the long arm for Chauncey, there's a walkway that goes by those, so they wouldn't be walking, and there's actually a walkway that goes all the way down that south side that would get them. Yeah, there it is.
Yes.
And because I'm familiar with this. And then is that the? I'm just curious. Is that the kitchen on the east side right there? Is that the kitchen?
That is
okay.
correct.
That's what I thought. I was just kind
Yes.
of wondering where you're putting the kitchen. Okay. Yeah, that's it. I was just kind of curious on a couple of those things.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Any other discussions? If not, motion.
Donnie moves that the Plan Commission approves the site and architectural plans for the properties at 7228 South 27th Street and 7236 South 27th Street with the following conditions. 1, that all relevant code requirements remain in effect. 2, that revised plans be submitted to show the following modifications. A, final location and 4-sided elevations for trash and recycling receptacles. B, all 4 elevations of the building, including awning details, and a notation that the east and north sides will be painted. C, a detailed landscaping plan, including quantities and species and details of the proposed planter beds. D, a notation that the parking lot will be resurfaced and restriped, that the 5 light poles along the west lot line will be removed, locations of parking lot curb stops, locations of chimneys, and notation that the existing pylon sign will be removed. E, that all revised plans are submitted to community development prior to submitting of any permit applications. 3, that a certified survey map combining the 2 lots at 7228 South 27th Street and 7236 South 27th Street is recording with Milwaukee County Register of Deeds prior to submitting of any permit applications. Is it?
Guzekowski, I'll second.
Roll call, beginning with Chris.
Guzekowski, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
Bauchai.
Shinsky, aye.
Gavich, aye. And that'll get us to adjournment. The next time we meet, it will be June. Ain't that unbelievable? I hope everybody enjoyed their Memorial Day. Long weekend, and Monday continues. It just feels like a Monday. There's no further business. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Seifert moves to adjourn the meeting at 7:30.
Guzekowski, will second.
Roll call, beginning with Don.
Oldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
Bauchai.
Shinsky, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
We stand adjourned.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.